Hey everyone, in this video today we're going to go through why traders' performance gets worse after they get paid. Now most traders tend to think that their performance would drop during difficult times. So that would be during a drawdown or when they've got emotional things going on in their life outside of trading. And of course that does happen, but there's a pattern that I've noticed working with traders one-to-one over the years where their performance gets worse after they receive a payout from a prop firm or they make a withdrawal from their own account. And the reason why this matters is because traders get caught out and they totally misread what's going on. So before I go any further, just a bit of background, bit of context about myself. I've traded for over 10 years. For the last 5 years, I've been working with traders one-to-one on their performance. And this is with traders that have got an edge, got a real edge. And it's with traders that have got funded, are profitable. And it ranges from those newly profitable traders all the way up to those that are managing multi-million dollars worth of funding, capital, and receiving regular 5-6-figure payouts. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through one reason, and I'm going to go through one reason why their performance drops off after they get paid. There are other reasons, but they are more deeper rooted. They are involving subconscious patterns. So today I'm going to go through something you can work on basically by yourself, and towards the end of the video I'm going to include some actionable tips of how you can work on this. Anyway, so back to misreading the problem. And when I say misreading, most traders tend to think that when their performance drops down, it is something to do with them being lazy, or they're losing their discipline, or that their strategy doesn't work anymore, or that they don't have an edge, or the market's changing. And what's actually happening very often is there's been an internal shift. And that internal shift is a shift in state. And when you have that change in state, you get a change in behaviors and then a change in performance. So the first thing that traders feel once they get paid is a sense of relief. And that relief comes because they've been pushing very hard. They've been doing all the things that they're supposed to be doing, keeping their discipline, following their rules, doing all the habits, routines. And there's an element of pressure that obviously traders feel when they're in that stage. So once they get the payout, your brain basically starts to think, okay, we've got this. We know what we're doing, and looking ahead, yeah, I can make money out of trading. And so once that happens, you start to feel that sense of relief. And that's when, as I said, the shift in state changes. So before there was some level of pressure. So you needed to be sharp, you needed to keep on top of everything. You needed to keep doing what works, what you know you should be doing in order to keep that performance going. And then in order, when the results come, the threat level actually lowers. The urgency is different. The pressure drops down. And as I say to traders regularly, trading performance is heavily influenced by state. And talking about working with traders and talking with them, if you want to work with me one-to-one, then there's a link below the video at the top of the description. If you just click on that, you can book a call. Okay, so back to this. So when we're in a relaxed state, we have that sense of relief. It's not always a good thing. And traders say to me, well, surely being relaxed is what we want. And yes, we don't want to be stressed on the one side, but we don't want to be too relaxed on the other side. It's not good for us. It's not good for performance. So there's a big difference between being calm on one hand and being casual on another. there's a big difference between being composed and switching off, regulated and too loose. And what happens is when you become too relaxed, your system finds it very difficult even to support the process that's required. And that's what makes it difficult. So once the pressure's off, you lose the sharpness, the level drops down, the structure's not there anymore. You don't have the routines, the habits that you did have prior to getting paid. And the part of the brain that's in charge of the deliberate control, attention, and following your rules is no longer engaged in the same way that it was. So what does that do to the brain? Well, the brain starts to do what brains do, which is it starts to look to be more efficient, to save energy. And that's what they do, and they're doing that all the time. So it becomes less motivated to expend the same level of energy that it was doing prior to getting the payout. And that means that it ends up dropping off things that did work, that were working. And everything just feels less important. It feels less needed, less required because of the payout, because of the getting paid. And the strategy is still the same, but now there is just less structure around it in order to execute it. So you don't lose discipline. This is an important part. You don't lose the discipline, but you lose the urgency that was actually helping to hold the discipline in place. And that's a key part as well. So how does it show up? Well, it rarely shows up as one big blowout. It tends to be more subtle. So there tends to be small behavioural shifts. So there's less patience. There is less reviewing, less of the routines, the habits, less preparation as well. And this, again, as I said earlier, this is the part that really catches traders out. So everything's still there. They still have the same skill level. The strategy's still the same. They still have the same edge. But what happens is now the consistency around the execution has changed. So that brings us on to what can we actually do about it? Well, in trading, we're always told that don't focus on P&L, don't focus on the results. And of course, that is true. We don't want to do that. But the thing is, it's difficult to just not focus on something. So we really need something else to focus on that replaces that. So results, P&L, they're not within our control. We need something that is actually within our control. So what I say to people is the best thing to do is to really judge your performance day by day in terms of how well you're executing and how well you're showing up. So what I would suggest is to actually pick like a set of criteria, 5 to 10. You know, you'd go through how your energy was, your focus, etc., and score those criteria on a scale of 1 to 10. Then also what you want to do is you want to record day by day, what are the habits, what are the routines, what are the things that you're doing. So you really want to put together some sort of spreadsheet where you've got the criteria, the scale of 1 to 10, and you just tick off the other things that you're doing. You don't want to make it too detailed that it's something that would take too long, because otherwise you're not going to stick to it. So just something that you can look at, complete pretty easily, and just do on a day-to-day basis. And then what you're going to do is once you have the payout, is you're just going to monitor how well you're performing in relation to what you were doing previously. And unless you have the data, it's very difficult to really keep a check on it. So really you'd be looking at, in particular, the first 5 sessions after getting a payout, but really the first 5 to 10. And just as I say, looking at what's going on and what you really need to be doing in terms of improving that. So I think I'll leave it there for today, and I will, if you've got any comments or questions, please leave them in the comments section below. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.